Hey guys, this is Alex with CritGames.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make these awesome white boulders. They are one of my most popular selling items, and I wanted to give you the tricks of the trade of how to make them by yourself. But first I'm going to start off by showing you my awesome dragon hat that my sister-in-law made for me this Christmas. It's even got a tail. I know, you're jealous. It looks like smog. It's awesome. Love this bad boy. But I'm going to take it off. So, starting out terrain making videos are usually annoying because the person teaching talks in a monotone and says like you know, whatever a lot, or they cuss and swear and blah blah blah, or they talk about their life and it's ridiculous. This video is set up so that you can go through it, move forward and fast forward, rewind, get what you need, get out. So we're gonna go, if I'm moving too fast, rewind the video. This guy is awesome. The reason why he's awesome is because of how detailed he is. Perfect for any models that are this size, perfect for mountain terrain, and it's modular enough that every time you play the game you can set it somewhere different and make an entirely different scenery. So this is a different view of the white boulder terrain up against some other pieces I made, like this abandoned urban house and these trees. You can see the size and scale of it. It works really well, and it's modular enough that you can move it around from table to table and reuse it in several games and woods and other things like that. So the first materials that we're going to start out with is tempered hardboard. You can get this stuff at Home Depot or Lowe's. If it looks familiar, it's because you've seen it before, just not like this. This is the stuff that they make pegboard out of. They drill a bunch of holes in it, then they put the hooks on it and hang tools. I'll show you right now. And that's exactly what they use it for. And so this stuff is before they put holes in it, which is awesome because now you can use it for all of your terrain. I cut it down into these size pieces here. You actually don't need a saw for this bad boy. It seems like you would, but if you're at home and you're like, okay dude, I don't have a table saw, it's fine, because what I will do with this stuff is I will take a box cutter and I will actually score across it. I'll show you real quick. Okay, so how do we work with the tempered hardboard? I've gotten it down to a pretty small piece because I pre-cut these before. If you have a saw, it's great, but even then you'll get down to a smaller piece like this. But for those of you like me who didn't have a saw for a long time, you're going to want to be able to cut this stuff in your room or in your basement without a lot of mess. So once you get it down, you're just going to take... Oh, I got some mud on my blade. It happens. Terrain is a messy business. We know this. So once you get that down, you're going to take it and you're going to lock in your blade. That way it doesn't slide back and forth. And then you're going to take it safely. Anyways, you're going to score across the line that you marked here. And you're going to go across that line a couple times because you're wanting to create a perforation, basically. There's no way you can score all the way through the wood. It's just not going to happen. It's too thick right there. But if you score through the line that you marked right here, and then you flip it over and get the same basic set, score through it. I didn't put a line on the back because I've done this a bunch of times, as you can see. Then I'll take pliers like this. Needle nose pliers are better because it grips it along the entire. And then I'll just snap it, right? Once I snap it like that, it's really simple. I just grab one of my Once I snap it like this, it's pretty easy, but how do you deal with the rough edges like that? Well, in almost any tool store, including Lowe's, you'll see a file like this. I've used mine quite a bit, but it's actually a big, thick metal file that's got 4 grades on it, which I really like because it allows me to do some fine work just flipping. So I'll take this and I'll just file down the edge. Really, really simple. And it just comes apart because this tempered hardwood is not a solid wood cut. It's compressed of fibers, so it's solid, but it's really easy to shave, as you see there in just a couple seconds. You're able to clean that up, and that's what you've got for placing any more of your rocks or anything like that. You're going to love using the tempered hardboard. And the reason that I use it is because I used to use a lot of foam board. Now, foam board really sucks in a lot of ways because it just breaks easy. Now, the rest of the gaming and terrain community uses foam board like I used to. These are some of my older toxic sludge barrels, but as you can see, it bends, it breaks, it cracks, it gets wet, and when you try and set it on any solid surface, where did he go? Here we are. When you set it on any surface, you can see it bowing there. There's these huge gaps over here, and it's garbage. So I switched over to the tempered hardboard because it's more solid. When I lay it flat on a surface, not only is it more durable, but as you can see, there are no gaps there. So, foam board bad, hardboard good, foam board breaks and splits and snaps. You're going to work on this terrain. You're going to take it from game shop to game shop. It's going to go in your bag. It's going to go in your box. It's going to be on your table. This stuff has to get beat up and survive it. That's why I created this. So as I get it down to the 2" by 2" squares, I'm going to go ahead and take some hot glue, really simple stuff, and then after that I'm going to use some of my mud technique that I showed you, which is the dirt mixed with the Elmer's glue to make a nice solid cement. As you see here, this stuff that I make for everything, it's awesome. And then on to using some of this peat moss that I love to add some detail and some greenery. The first step that you're going to want to take is you're going to want a sizable rock to work with, okay? Now, here's the thing about these bad boys is that this is just natural stone. Whenever you're working with large terrain pieces, it's hard to work with natural stone, and so most people will go out and they'll buy the foam board. You also see it in pink or whatever. They carve it out. It looks rigid and everything. But the thing is on the smaller pieces like this, you just can't get the kind of detail that God created in all of these rocks as they are, that Mother Nature puts into these, whatever you want to say. And so I like to get the natural stone here because when you're working in modular pieces like this, they're not that heavy and they look insane. So you're going to take your hot glue and you're going to put a dab of it on here. You're going to get a good fair amount in there because you just want it to hold on to the stone. Beforehand, you can cut, see where it's at, stick that on there, and as it solidifies and cools, it makes a good rock. Taking my tempered hardwood here, and I am going to apply my hot glue, this bad boy, and I've run out of hot glue, so I'm going to reload my gun real quick. There we go. And put a dab on there, about that big, you can see. It's pretty feasible. I take my rock and I'm going to take the flat surface. Before I put it on here, I can place to see which way it would work better, of course, but I've decided that'll work, and I'm just going to smush it down. And then the more hot glue that actually, the bigger the glob you have, the more it'll grab onto different surfaces, porous surfaces, because this rock can be really uneven, as you can see here. So sometimes the hot glue won't catch because of pockets. But if you put enough of it around, or you work the angle or whatever, but you have right here. And then after this is done, as you can see, you know, in comparison to how big the mini is, you know, maybe I want to leave this face here because it adds cover. But I just decide that I kind of like the idea of having a little something there. So take a smaller pebble just to make it look more natural. Detail is having a lot of little minute details. So it just makes it more believable. So I'll just take another one and put it right there. So that's simple. Simple enough as it is. So I'm going to pull up a different one that's already cooled and solidified so we can move forward. And you can see here that I've glued two rocks together just to make it look natural. Whatever looks good, whatever feels good. And so you can see there are smaller rocks that I got from gravel pits, other things like that. You make them look however you want, and because they don't look uniform like you buy at the store, it actually looks more natural, which is awesome. So, once that's set up on there, you're going to want to go through and you're going to want to mud it. Now, I've created a cement mud that other people don't use in terrain. They just, again, I've been doing this stuff for long enough, I figured out what stuff sucks and what works. If it didn't work, I fixed it. One of the most popular ways to do flock is not mudding. It's just putting on dirt. And you'll see a lot of other people out there, they'll tell you, just go ahead and put on some PVC glue or Elmer's glue, which is the same thing, and then take some sand and dip it on there, and this is the effect you get. the sand grips to the glue, but the problem is that it just, as you can see, it's flaking off as I'm rubbing it because it's only attached to the glue, and it spills off, and then you get bald spots. You just end up getting all of this terrain that looks like junk. So what I started to do is I took the cement, I took the Elmer's glue and the dirt, and I mixed them together like a cement. It comes out as this really awesome like mud technique, and depending on how you want to make it look, you can either add more dirt or more glue, but it's basically a 50-50 mix, and you sculpt it on with, I just use a butter knife. I mean, honestly, just any flat palette. And I spread it on like this around all the edges and everything. And the nice thing about it is that it acts as a second solid holding glue. Okay, so look up the other video I did on this stuff. It's really great, but you can see here it's fudgy. It's this dirt and Elmer's mixed together, and it's really easy to spread on your terrain with a butter knife. Again, I did another video on it. You can look it up, but it turns out great. So that whenever you're trying to use bigger objects, like these are my black boulders, I'll show you how to make in a different video, because I slided in all the crevices and the cracks, this isn't just being held onto by the hot glue, it's now solidified like a concrete onto the hardboard so that you can drop it and try and pull it apart, and it's not coming apart. I know, it's amazing! So, after you do that and you got a solid set here, what you're going to want to do is, I'm going to go back to the one that's not mudded. Use your imagination. Pretend that it's mudded like this. And how you get that detail on there, that vegetation that makes it look so nice, is you take some of the flock, you go ahead, you put in some hot glue, just a dab of it, and then you take with your fingers a pinch and you slide it on there. And as you tamp it down with your thumb, be a little careful because it's hot glue, but for most part, the flock should act as a barrier between the hot glue and your finger, like an oven mitt, and so that you can actually tap it down there and get some better detail. Now this is a little flat. You can do the detail however you want, and you can come up with a million variations on this. Take a little tiny twigs and glue them on there to make it look like there's, I don't know, a tree branch that fell on it or whatever. Either way, in the end, it ends up looking really impossibly good. Now, this is harder to do. So, I have a suggestion if you're not getting this down. Go to critgames.com. You can actually purchase these bad boys for about $2.50, $3 each. Not bad. It's got the hardboard, it's super durable, and the reason why these sell so well is because you can pretty much drop these from 6 feet and they won't break. Everybody loves these. I've been doing these for years, and that's why I get them just exactly right, and they look really good in detail. First times that you're doing it, it'll be kind of hard, but if you order some of these, you can actually look at them and use them as a reference and the detail on how to do it right. Okay, thanks for watching this, guys. I am so glad that you took the time to travel through this and take this journey with me. Going through the steps one more time, you take the tempered hardboard, you glue a rock to it. Once you glue it, you go ahead and you mud it. Once you mud it, you wait for that to dry, and then you hot glue some of this fluff on there. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video and getting through it. If you have any questions, shoot them on the comment line. If you have any feedback, I'm a human like you. I need to know that you care. Please leave a comment or just put a thumbs up or whatever. This is how I get paid. I get paid in affection. So you have to feed me with affection and telling me that it's okay. Or that you hate it. Or that it didn't work. Or whatever. Either way, and if you want to, go ahead and subscribe. If you don't want to, subscribe so that I can go ahead and send you more videos like this, and it'll be awesome. You guys have a great day. critgames.com